JKR must hasten delayed projects. Authorities predict Sydney's flood to worsen over time and Sarawak to refocus on tackling food security. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Muhammad Yusuf and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with our top story. Public Works Department JKR is asked to hasten two projects in Limbang that have been delayed for the past 5 years. The cost of each mega project is more than the million ringgit mark, involving the Limbang Bridge and the Limbang Museum, to which Dato' Amar Douglas UGGAH Embas has inquired what was the reason behind the 5-year delay. Both projects have resumed construction following the inspection by the Deputy Premier.
Works on the Limbang Bridge started in 2017 and have been scheduled for completion by April 2023, while construction at the museum will only begin later this month after a new contractor was appointed to deliver the project. The cost of the projects is 187 million ringgit and 6.4 million ringgit respectively. UGGAH, who is also the Minister for Infrastructure and Port Development MIPD, said JKR must have an intervention plan if any contractors aren't able to deliver as initially scheduled. If projects are not delivered on time, it can cause not only inconvenience to many parties, but also affect the livelihoods of those who are dependent on some development projects. The second Minister of Finance urged contractors to be fully capable of securing their supplies before taking any jobs, and to be more hands-on rather than giving instructions to workers, which have caused projects to be delayed in too many instances.
Thousands of residents were ordered to evacuate southwest Sydney on Sunday as heavy rain and damaging winds pounded Australia's east coast. Authorities also warned residents of further flooding and warned that it could be worse than those that hit the region before.
Heavy rain and overflowing dams and rivers all combined to threaten flash floods and landslides along the east coast from Newcastle down to Batemans Bay in New South Wales, and rain was expected to intensify on Sunday night. Camden in southwest Sydney was underwater, and the Weather Bureau predicted water levels in parts of Sydney would peak at higher levels than in the past 3 major flood events since March 2021.
So this combination of heavy rainfall and the overflows out of Warragamba Dam is causing the river to rise quickly, and we are likely to see significant flooding. The Bureau is now warning us that later tonight the Hawkesbury and Nepean rivers will rise higher than what we experienced in March 2021, March 2022 and April of 2022. If you were safe in 2021, do not assume you will be safe tonight. This is a rapidly evolving situation, and we could very well see areas impacted that have never experienced flooding before.
Now, Sarawak is shifting its approaches to seek long-term solutions to the food security and inflation issues. Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said Sarawak is now limiting land use for growing oil palm and focusing on efforts in boosting the food industry.
Abang Johari said such approaches are necessary as the country is facing inflation due to the country's high dependency on imported goods.
Dan sekarang ini kita berpindah kepada makanan, industri makanan yang sangat penting untuk negara dari sudut daripada keselamatan makanan. Dan cara kita nak membangunkan pertanian ini terpaksa kita tukar, kita ubah. Di mana kita menggunakan teknologi yang terkini, termasuklah IoT dan juga aplikasi-aplikasi yang akan memberikan nilai tambah kepada industri makanan.
Moreover, he said Sarawak would utilize the agro-parks to transform the agricultural sector in its bid to become a net food exporter by the year 2030 to meet local and international demands.
Sarawak sekarang ini kita pendekatan kita bangunkan agro-park kerana tidak ada masalah tanah dalam agro-park. Tanah dah sedia. Nombor duanya kita sediakan semua infra digital ni dengan piping dia, fertilizer pun tidak menggunakan chemical begitu banyak.
The Premier was met at the launching of the Kenyalang Biris rice and Karis white pepper at Kuala Lumpur on Sunday, held concurrently with the soft launch of Sarawak Agrofest 2022 and Nyamai Sarawak Gastronomy Festival 2022.
Now, a total of 360 Paralympians and 106 of their coaches will be undergoing a free health screening test known as the Healthy Athlete Program, HAP. This will prepare them for the upcoming 6th Sarawak Paralympic Championships while acting as a precautionary measure to ensure the Paralympians are not suffering from any severe illnesses prior to the Games.
Apa yang kita nak buat di sini ialah membuat pemeriksaan kesihatan supaya kalau ada masalah, ya, lebih baik kita dapat temuinya pada peringkat awal dan lebih senang untuk merawat. Selain daripada keperluan untuk mereka sihat sebagai seorang atlet. Dan pagi tadi saya difahamkan 20% of those who came for screening pada awal pagi tadilah, ya, didapati menunjuk simptom iaitu high hypertension.
An early intervention program such as HAP will ensure that the athletes and trainers can get immediate medical attention if they are required to, as HAP will be providing them with an authentic reference letter to the hospital or clinic.
Rugi kalau OKU atlet kita tidak memanfaatkan program Healthy Athlete Program ini. Sebab dari segi pemeriksaannya adalah sangat menyeluruh sifatnya. But what is more important, in the past we have done this, and then when we discovered that there is a problem that has been detected here during our Healthy Athletes Program, then there is a recommendation by the doctors in order for them to do a follow-up. So parents must do the follow-up.
HAP provides the Paralympians and their coaches with 7 different screening stations consisting of physical fitness, leg and feet checkup, physical therapy, dental, eyesight, audiology and MedFest. Now, Sabah's ongoing requests and demand for their rights as enshrined in the 1963 Malaysian Agreement will not deter Sarawak's progress towards a similar motion. Datuk Sharifah Hasidah Said Aman Ghazali, who is the Deputy Minister in the Premier's Department for Law, MA 63 and State Federal Relations, clarified that although Sabah is fighting for the same right, Sarawak has an upper hand, as the motion was spearheaded by the state government over the past several years.
Memang Sarawak, memang kita telah perjuangkan hak kita Sarawak dari dulu lagi ya. Dari tahun zaman Tok Nas sampai zaman Datuk Patinggi dan sekarang memang berterusan. Jadi apa dipolah oleh Sabah, saya rasa itu apa yang mereka nak buat, tapi dia tidak akan efek dan mengganggu apa yang kita telah laksanakan, dan kita memang fokus untuk terus memperjuangkan hak Sarawak lah, mengikut direction dan arahan daripada Yang Berhormat Premier kita, apa yang patut.
Even so, there are still so much rights that has yet to be returned to both Sabah and Sarawak as per the MA 63 agreement, and that discussions are underway.
Banyak perkara, ada yang dah dapat, ada yang dalam proses perbincangan, ada yang positif, tapi semua masih dalam proses perbincangan. Jadi kita tidak dapat nak rush, kita fokus dan kita akan terus perjuangkan sampai kita dapatlah.
Hasidah spoke with the press after launching the Kuching Cleanliness Month 2022 on Sunday, July 3rd. In regards to the program, Hasidah said the program should be held as an annual event in Kuching that engages with the community to keep Kuching's cleanliness in check. Now, the search and rescue operation for a missing crew member of a tanker ship that capsized in Samalaju on Saturday entered its second day on Sunday. However, as of 6 p.m. today, rescuers failed to find new leads. The Bangga 2 tanker carrying 4 crew members was reported to have sunk around 2 a.m. on Saturday due to heavy storm. According to Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA Bintulu Director Captain Muhammad Khairul Anwar Saad, day 1 of the SAR operation involving air and maritime assets failed to spot any oil spill and debris from the ship at a location where it was reportedly capsized. He said the multi-agency search on Sunday also included the Bomba Air Unit, which scans an area of 183.60 square nautical miles, and an MMEA vessel, KM Setia, which combs an area of 336.19 nautical miles. Khairul added that oil platforms near the search area have also been notified to be on alert. In a statement, 3 of the victims, which include 2 locals and 1 Indian national, managed to get on a life raft, while another crew member, identified as Indian national Himanshu Kumar, got separated from the others. The 3 surviving members were later rescued by a passing boat. Just like a scene out of a horror movie, 3 individuals cheated death when a falling timber smashed onto their 4-wheel drive vehicle at Jalan Rantau Panjang, Sibu on Saturday. According to Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department, Bomba, a distress call was made at around 8:20 p.m. to inform them of the incident. It is learned that the lorry was making a turn when the timber log suddenly broke loose and smashed onto the vehicle, which was traveling behind it. Fortunately, all 3 individuals aged 32 to 52 years old survived, but they had to be extricated from the vehicle using a special tool. They were brought to Sibu Hospital for further action. Coming up right after the break, KPDN HEP Director under fire for insensitive comment, and both Russia and Ukraine claims control over Luhansk city. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned.
Dan dalam kalangan kanak-kanak, adakah anda yakin anak anda boleh mendengar dengan baik? Masalah pendengaran adalah kecacatan yang tidak kelihatan dan kurang disedari sekiranya berlaku dalam kalangan bayi dan kanak-kanak. Ketahui status pendengaran anak anda melalui ujian saringan pendengaran. Ujian saringan pendengaran boleh dilakukan untuk semua peringkat usia seawal kelahiran. Ianya mudah, pantas dan tidak menyakitkan. Pengesanan dan pemulihan awal dapat membantu perkembangan pendengaran, pertuturan dan minda anak anda. Ibu bapa, bantulah anak anda. Jangan berlengah. Peka dengan deria pendengaran anak anda. Kunjungi fasiliti kesihatan berhampiran yang menawarkan pemeriksaan pendengaran.
Welcome back to TVS Nightline. Now, the Eat Less Eggs statement by Malacca's Director of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry, or KPTN-HEP, has garnered a significant amount of criticism on social media. Many were enraged as NORENA JAAFAR's statement came off to netizens as distasteful towards the lower income group as they constantly struggle to buy food items that have seen a significant price hike.
Kalau boleh, kita sebagai pengguna kan, kalau dah tahu kenaikan harga barang tu, harga telur tu tinggi, kalau boleh kita kurangkan sikit makan telur. Kalau satu minggu kita makan lebih kurang 20 biji, kita kurangkan jadi 10 ataupun 15 biji. Tak ada masalah. Itu adalah cara gaya hidup kita.
Commenting on the video was Secretary General of KPTN-HEP, Dato' Azman Muhammad Yusuf, who addressed the unfortunate event on Saturday and stated that NORENA may have her own way that was not very acceptable by the public. Though many have criticized NORENA on her statement, many have also shown support to her and said that her words were taken out of context and needed to be viewed in full to get a better understanding.
Now, the government will take stern action over the shortage of subsidized oil, which is said to be due to smuggling to the neighboring countries. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economy, Datuk Sri Mustafa Muhammad, said his office took the matter seriously in light of the shortage of packet cooking oil in the country.
Saya telah mengadakan perbincangan tak rasmi dengan beberapa pihak berkaitan isu ini, termasuklah dengan pegawai Kementerian Perdagangan Negeri haluan pengguna di Kelantan ini. Jadi kita kumpul maklumat. Yang penting kita nak tahu apa keadaan sebenarnya. Bilangan yang terlibat dalam industri repackaging ni untuk menyediakan paket ini, di mana dia jual minyak ini, setakat mana berlakunya penyeludupan dari laporan media memanglah ada penyeludupan dan memang ada tangkapan pun dari semasa ke semasa. Cuma kita nak tahu setakat mana perkara ini berlaku, betapa seriusnya, kerana kita bayar subsidi dinikmati oleh orang asing. Ini tak patut berlaku lah.
He said this when met after surveying the prices of daily necessities and goods at the Tunjong Rural Transformation Centre in Kota Baru, Kelantan on Sunday. Mustafa, who is also a member of the Special Jihad Against Inflation Task Force, said a team would meet for its third meeting tomorrow with a focus on two main issues, namely shortage of subsidized cooking oil and the rising prices of essential goods.
Now, the government will look into ways and means to address the rising prices of goods and will not let the people to suffer. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said that the 77.7 billion ringgit in subsidy is to ease the people's burden in light of the rising prices globally. According to Finance Minister Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz, the government's expenditure for consumption subsidies in 2022 is also the highest subsidy in history ever borne by any government. The projected consumption subsidies covered petrol, diesel, liquefied petroleum gas, which totaled 37.3 billion ringgit, cooking oil 4 billion ringgit, flour, and electricity to reduce the cost of living of the people, as well as subsidy bills equivalent to 9.7 billion ringgit. Ismail Sabri said the present government is a government that will provide assistance either in terms of material or support in nurturing the spirit of unity in finding common ground in diversity. Ismail Sabri also hit out at some parties for accusing the government of not doing anything and not taking any action on the issue of the rising cost of living.
Minggu ini dalam Delivery Girl.
Anti ada adik lelaki. Madah jangan datang kucing singgah di rumah tu.
Aduh.
Anti ada prank.
Mr. Steven?
Yes, of course. I'm Steven.
Selamat sore ya, Pak. Maafin gue ya, Pak. Tadi gue nggak sadar kok Bapak udah nyampe.
Ah! Gula asin, Mira. Gula asin.
Kenapa tu?
Oh, Yen, tidak benar kan? Benar yang ke atas cuma di bawah saja. Oh, Yen? Oh, Yen. Entah aku cari, Pak. Macam ni punya tiba-tiba kena colek.
Macam kami pernah lihat pusat tu. Sini. Mari kami nemu bangkainya. Hah? Bangkai?
Kalinya nggak bakalan bersih. Air galengannya nih kan, tanggul saya bongkarkan. Ya udah diminum di situ aja pagi hari. Tapi sekarang saya nggak berani.
Gusto ko talaga ng super white dahil na sa peer pressure.
Exposure to air pollution is one of the commonest causes of death in children under 5 years of age.
You're literally waking up, getting out of your house, going through a gas chamber.
समस्या का समाधान मास्क पहनना और घर में बैठना है क्या?
Welcome back. Now on to some global news. Confusion arises amidst the Ukraine and Russia conflict as both sides claim that Lysychansk is now under their respective control. On one side, Russia has marked the city's administrative building with its flag, while Ukraine said it still has control over the city and continues to defend it, as a Ukrainian military spokesperson denies heavily that the city has been surrounded by Russian forces. A spokesperson for the Russian Defense Ministry, Igor Konashenkov, however, tells a different story as the back and forth between the two sides continues.
The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation in Ukraine. The enemy suffers considerable losses on all front lines. 3 battalions from 10th Mountain Assault and 72nd Mechanized Brigades have lost over 50% of personnel near Verkhnikamenka and Zolotarovka just in the past 24 hours.
He went on to say that their aerospace forces have launched a high-precision attack at the provisional base of Ukrainians' 1st Battalion from the 30th Mechanized Brigade, which killed over 120 Ukrainian soldiers and destroyed 15 units of military equipment.
In addition, Russian aviation has neutralized the provisional armament and military equipment storage base of the 10th Mountain Assault Brigade deployed at the territory of a tractor plant in Kharkov. The attack has resulted in the elimination of up to 30 servicemen and 10 units of armored and motor vehicles.
In the same period, Ukraine reported more attacks in Donetsk, Mykolaiv, and Kherson, apart from the two aforementioned cities in the past 24 hours. With Sweden and Finland being invited to officially join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, making the move as the alliance's biggest European security shifts. Its Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that all 30 allies of NATO have agreed to formally treat Russia as the most significant and direct threat to their allies' security. Both Finland and Sweden have been keeping themselves on neutral grounds, not joining NATO since they were first invited for many years ago. With both Nordic countries on board, NATO moves forward with its plan to resolve the Ukraine-Russia conflict with a new strategy.
So today, leaders have endorsed NATO's new strategic concept. And it is published as we speak. And this is the new strategic concept. The current one was agreed in 2010, and this is very different compared to what we agreed back then. It makes clear that Russia poses the most significant and direct threat to our security. In the current concept, we state that Russia is a strategic partner. In the current concept, we do not mention China with a single word. In this, allies states that China's coercive policies challenge our interests, security, and values.
He disclosed that NATO is prepared for war as it happens at the most unpredictable times and ensure Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky that they will continue providing Ukraine with much-needed supplies to face the attacks by Russia.
Allies are also investing more in modern capabilities, contributing more to NATO deployments and exercises, and we have agreed to increase NATO's common funding. To finance the facilities we need for reinforcement, as well as more training and more exercises, command and control, and engagement with partners.
The Western Alliance is also in agreement that big allies such as the United States, Germany, Britain, and Canada pre-assign troops, weapons, and equipment to the Baltics and intensify training exercises. NATO is also aiming to have as many as 300,000 troops ready for deployment in case of conflict, part of an enlarged NATO response force. Wrapping up the Nightline, officials from Iran have made a pact with the Syrian government to ease the conflict that has ensued following constant incursions by Turkey on northern Syria. To what extent this pact will go has not been made clear, should the political solution take in the form of providing more war assets or negotiations.
مشکلی که اکنون بین ترکیه و سوریه وجود داره اعلام کردیم و همه مساعی جمله خودمون رو برای جلوگیری از وقوع عملیات نظامی و تمرکز بر راه حل سیاسی پی خواهیم گرفت.
نحن لدينا ثقة بالجمهورية الإسلامية الإيرانية وليس بالآخرين.
Ankara, the capital of Turkey, has vowed a new offensive on swathes of northern Syria to oust Kurdish-led fighters who are backed by the United States but have also coordinated with Damascus and its ally Russia. Turkey has conducted 3 incursions into northern Syria since 2016, which Damascus has described as violations of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Syria's foreign minister has warned Turkey against invading again, saying it would consider the operation a war crime. Iran, on the other hand, has been a steadfast ally of Syria throughout the latter's 11-year conflict, offering military, political, and economic support. Brand new season of Sejahtera Asia coming your way tomorrow with hosts Wan Alif and Sharon, joined by guests Philip Sangkan, the director of the Social Security Organization or PEKESO, brought in especially to inform you on the important role of the organization and how it impacts the latter part of our lives. 7:30 a.m. only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Freeview. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally, just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. That's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Muhammad Yusuf. Thank you for watching and good night.
Minggu ini dalam Delivery Girl.